It's clear as day that the U.S. biological weapons program should be included in any investigation into the lab leak hypothesis and the causes of the pandemic.
Compañero decía, China, Rusia también es imperio. Yo diría, es un país desarrollado, tal vez potencia. ¿Qué hace imperio? Comparto con el compañero, imperio invade, el imperio instala bases militares y el imperio chantajea su desarrollo de un país, como Estados Unidos. ¿Por qué si Estados Unidos es imperio? Usa al Fondo Monetario Internacional y dice, si quieres crédito, alguna ayuda, primero tienes que privatizar tus recursos naturales. ¿Para qué? Para saquear. Yo no he visto una base militar de China ni de Rusia en toda América Latina. No hay. Así, Rusia en algunos países está enfrentando las bases militares de Estados Unidos para sacarlo. Esa es la pelea a pedido de esos países. Esa es la profunda diferencia. ¿Qué es imperio? ¿Qué es una potencia? ¿Qué puede ser potencia? Mira, compañeros, si nosotros cumplimos con nuestra meta de industrializar el litio, porque tenemos un plan a 2028-2030, 40 fábricas de litio. Bolivia, con tema litio, va a ser una potencia mundial. Es una potencia en ese rubro. Eso no es esperanza, es una tarea. ¿No? Entonces una cosa es la potencia desarrollada, otra cosa es imperio. Imperio son los que invaden países. ¿No? Repito nuevamente, yo nunca he visto Rusia de China, de algún país, India, y también es una potencia que tiene sus bases militares. La profunda diferencia con el
China continues to let down the rest of the industrialized world. I mean, it's just not living up to the standards set by much of the globe. For example, as Danny Haifong wrote recently, China has not been to war in more than 40 years, never conducts regime change operations, does not get involved in destabilization of other countries, and does not unilaterally impose sanctions as a form of economic bullying. What are you doing, China? Do you want to play with the big boys or not?
In 1968, about 6,000 sheep died near this government facility. They were poisoned by a chemical weapon named VX. The U.S. hasn't been known to actively use VX in combat. In fact, it's begun destroying its stockpile of chemical munitions as part of a UN treaty. But it's just one of many strange and secretive experiments that happened within these walls. Experiments on sheep, mosquitoes, and even civilians. About 85 miles southwest of Salt Lake City is the U.S. government's top secret bioweapons lab. It's called the Dugway Proving Ground. The 77-year-old facility covers about 800,000 acres. That's just a little larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. And it tests some of the deadliest chemical, biological, radiological, and explosive hazards on Earth. Less famous than Area 51, Dugway dates all the way back to 1942, right in the middle of World War II. The decisive battle of the war had begun. The government needed a large area to test powerful weapons, eventually settling on this stretch of land in the Utah desert. Back then, the site was used to test everything from chemical sprays and flamethrowers to various antidotes and protective equipment, and even firebombing. Down until the Korean War began in 1950. That's when the Proving Ground turned into what it is today, a permanent military base. In Dugway's first few decades, the base worked mostly on offensive weaponry, biological and chemical munitions designed to directly attack enemies.
Sampling devices, positioned throughout the test area, yield valuable information to chemical
Shut down.
to determine their maturity and reliability, as well as mental outlook. Medical histories and laboratory checks on the volunteers had been extremely stringent. Any history of a chronic disease, any allergic reaction or nervous disorder was a cause for rejection. Volunteers were given the opportunity to drop out at any time. I was to watch the progress of the experiment from the control room. The volunteers had been positioned in cubicles on the outside of the test sphere, a hollow steel ball 40 feet in diameter, in which a cloud of biological warfare agent.
There was this terrible accident at Fort Detrick in 1985. 5 researchers dropped dead in the lab, and it was such a catastrophe that they brought in Dan Hillcott from Stanford to assess the damage. And he got in there and he realized that underneath it all was this incredible breakthrough in viral receptor mapping. He had a map.
Almost 2 years later, after the shutdown of Army Lab, we are again here at Fort Detrick. A small one-man operation airport opened in the area. Almost 2 years later, after the shutdown of Army Lab, we are again here at Fort Detrick. A small one-man operation airport opened in the area of Frederick, Maryland in 1938 is now a sprawling complex of brick government buildings outside Frederick, Maryland, located an hour's drive north of Washington, D.C. On its premises was a lab running where scientists developed germ weapons, vaccines, drugs, diagnostics. The first hot scandal broke out in 1968 when in the state of Utah were tested bombs with brucellosis, a bacterium that can lead to fever and influenza-like sickness. In August 2019, its deadly germ research operations were abruptly shut down following serious safety violations, in particular relating to the disposal of dangerous materials. Although many projects are on hold now, scientists and other employees are continuing to work.
Now I'm at the Green Spring Village, close to the senior home, just 10 miles from the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C. According to the Washington Post article, it was here where 5 residents have died following an outbreak of respiratory illness that began in the summer 2019. The complex includes a fairly huge area, and this is the home for many elderly people in America. We tried to get in and talk to the residents, but we have seen the fence. Have the checkpoint behind the gate on access to the Green Spring